We have a busy weather night across the U.S. We've got showers and some thunderstorms running around in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states. We also have rain and storms and severe weather across parts of the Mississippi River Valley and two tropical waves. We still have major Hurricane Gabrielle, which looks like it's going to pass over the Azores in a couple of days. They got hurricane watches up for the islands. And we'll talk about that and much more tonight, right here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast if you shop on Amazon. Use our referral link that's on the descriptor to this podcast on YouTube under the title. It doesn't cost you a penny out of your own pocket. Just go on Amazon. You're buying whatever it is you're going to buy. Amazon throws us a little bit of coin for sending you there. The live stream is able to stay commercial free because of it. So we appreciate very much those of you who have supported us by doing your Amazon shopping via our referral link. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Tempest, get the revolutionary Tempest weather station, and then you'll join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this tonight is on the pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast. Use that coupon code Joe Rayo.
Autumn 2025, Joe Choppy.
And if you do, you will get...
You'll get 10% off.
You will.
Wow.
Very much so.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how much of the guidance you saw today. There was a lot of weird stuff on it when we get into the weekend and early next week. I didn't really know what to make of it, other than to say that if anybody's got it figured out, really, it's somewhat bizarre. There could be two hurricanes running around off the southeast coast. There, all sorts of other things happening. But in the meantime, at least in the short range, it's pretty clear. We've got some stuff on the radar tonight that Joe's going to show us. And then we've got the next weather system with another warm front, cold front combo. And that could actually, SPC's got much of the East Coast under a marginal risk for severe weather Thursday.
I don't know how to take this, but Donald Cheese Doodle says, Joe and Joe, the best weathermen since Lloyd Lindsay Young.
Well, I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you.
Hello!
Goodbye.
And goodbye. Yeah.
Goodbye. So anyway, I have just posed my scenario. I would like to hear your machinations on all this.
I wish I could add some machinations, but just as I was getting ready to sit down and start looking at all of this information, Mrs. Rayo came down and said, the lawn is getting awfully long.
Oh, jeez.
You ought to get on the tractor, and while you're doing that, you should stop midway because the beautiful walnut tree, we have a walnut tree, Joe, and at this time of the year, it's dropping walnuts all over my front lawn. But you think about walnuts and, you think about them, the way when you crack them open or like that. These don't look like walnuts. These look like miniature green tennis balls.
Yeah, well, that's what I have similar. I have black walnuts that have, and then when they come down and hit a metal roof, it sounds like, like a baseball's hit it.
Right. I can imagine. But anyway, to make a long story short or a short story long, I really didn't get a chance to look at very much. I wanted to, but, you have to listen to the boss. And so that's where I spent much of the afternoon on the tractor and also bent over picking up God knows how many of these green walnuts that.
Well, at least she didn't tell you that with some thunderstorms running around. She didn't tell you while you're on the tractor. Why don't you fly a kite at the same time?
Yes.
So she didn't do that. Bless her heart.
No.
No, she didn't do that. Well, we're going to get the show underway, but as always, we always like to give a little hello to our new sponsors. Some of our new sponsors. They've been coming in. Almost daily. And we'll start tonight, Joe. New sponsor is Minute Lice. Minute pre-cooked lice. The long, skinny type. I can't see. It says makes how many sloppy servings? Six?
Makes six sloppy servings. Yeah.
Right. And then, because the folks with that make Kami Cleanser, which is what we had last night, wanted equal time, so why not give it to them? A-Jerks. Blue Dot A-Jerks. Condemned by good housebreaking. The do nothing cleanser. You gotta be a jerk to use it. A jerks.
What does it say?
Uh,
Condemned by good
Good
housebreaking.
housebreaking. It has the good
Yeah,
housebreaking. It does not have the good housebreaking. It has the condemnation of the
right.
good housebreaking seal of approval.
And
If you're
instead of blue dot, it's blue blot
right,
cleanser.
well,
So
if you're old like us, when we were growing up, a lot of the commercials, a lot of the products, one of the selling points that they would always say is it's these endorsements recommended by Good Housekeeping magazine. So they went
right,
the
right.
road of good housebreaking. So there you have it. Uh, we'll have some sponsors for the end of the show too. So anyhow, why don't we get going? And you can go ahead and start with the radar because it is, there are some showers and storms around, particularly in southeast Pennsylvania, that are moving eastward, and then another line to the west, and they warrant examination. And then we also have some showers and thunderstorms and actually a fair amount of severe weather going on in parts of Arkansas and Oklahoma, extending into western Tennessee and Kentucky and on up through Indiana. So Joe's going to start off with the Upton radar.
All right. Well, the thing is, as I said, I was out much of the afternoon with Mrs. Rayo as we were taking care of things around the house, the property, the lawn, and I kept saying to myself, where are those showers and thunderstorms that were supposed to be popping up during the course of the afternoon? And now we can see where they are. They decided they would spend time most of the afternoon well to the west. Right now, they seemingly are finally crossing the New Jersey Pennsylvania border. They are heading on an east northeast trajectory, and I would suppose that sometime later this evening, we'll begin to see some of these showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder in the immediate New York tri state area, especially in the Hudson Valley. But for the moment, at least at this particular moment in time, it is still relatively dry. And I will say also, Joe, that for a short while during the afternoon, the sun came out and it was out. I don't know what the high temperature here was locally, but it felt like it was well up in the 70s to almost 80 degrees. And it was a bit more humid out there today as opposed to the last few. So that's the Upton radar. And if we want to go farther to the south and east, we can see that showers are indeed falling across portions of eastern Pennsylvania and down into northeastern Maryland, crossing over to northern sections of Delaware. So there is some wet weather, but it is, again, mostly to the west and to the southwest of the immediate New York City metropolitan area. We'll check on Washington, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Sterling, Virginia, and you can see this line of showers and possibly embedded lightning and thunder quickly moving to the east across the northern end of Maryland. In fact, the last few frames of the loop places it mostly over northeastern Maryland. Nothing much really as you look to the furthest to the south over Virginia or west into West Virginia. So that pretty much spells the story right now for precipitation in the immediate vicinity of our area. But you mentioned Arkansas, you mentioned areas to the south, and if we go to what happened? Oh, there you go, Little
Yeah.
Rock. I was beginning to wonder what happened to the Little Rock. What? Well, you know what? It is it moving? Yeah, finally it is moving. Northern sections of Arkansas, and you can see there's quite a bit of active weather there. Some shades of orange and red. So I would presume that we are looking at places that are seeing some rather noteworthy shower and storm activity here, mostly across the northern third of the state. Little Rock proper and Point South are not seeing much of anything. So it's the northern part of Arkansas that is being adversely affected right now with showers and storms. And in fact, if we go a little bit further to the north, let's go up to Paducah, Kentucky. Paducah is in the center here, and you can see that we have showers and maybe some scattered thunderstorms affecting portions of southern Illinois, moving into southwestern Indiana, moving through western sections of Kentucky, and also affecting portions of southeastern or eastern Missouri. So there's an active radar situation here with some significant shower and storm activity, and of course we'll be keeping an eye on it over the show. But that's about where all of the action is going right now, Joe.
Okay, fair enough. And we'll check out the watches and warnings while I bring that map up. Just want to say hi to everybody on the chat board tonight. And those of you who are watching in the background, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. And the occasional Friday and Saturday is if there's some storms around, we'll add a show here and there, and we'll let you know about it. If you turn your notifications on, you won't miss us. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you like the show, by all means, hit the like button. And you can see where the area that's getting hit with some showers and storms right now, as Joe mentioned, eastern Oklahoma into Arkansas. We've got a tornado watch up. SPC went to an enhanced risk here, which we'll get to in a moment. There's also some flash flood warnings that are up in those little red boxes that you see, even into southern Missouri, and the purplish area there in southern Oklahoma and the northern counties of northeast Texas are all under a severe thunderstorm watch. We also have flash flood watches for southeast Arizona and a few frost and warnings and freeze warnings and frost advisories just west of I-25 in Colorado and running up into southern Wyoming. So a little bit of chilly air that has settled in. And this is the satellite loop showing the tropics, which I'm going to get to momentarily. But here's the full U.S. view. You see the blow up, the bright white cloud tops in eastern Pennsylvania moving into western New Jersey as these storms move eastward. And then there's another line that's trying to get generated there in western Pennsylvania and western New York behind it. That's where the weather front is that's pushing eastward. We've got some thunderstorms blowing up in Florida. You can see the clouds getting blown off to the northeast. You also can see showers and storms in this hook that shows up on the satellite loop. So that's a strong upper air trough with a low pressure area that's developing in Missouri and heading into southern Illinois. And with that, we've got showers and storms and severe weather. And then there's the stuff that's on the backside in western Nebraska and in northern Colorado that's rotating around all of this. That's our weather system that's coming in that's going to be impacting our weather tomorrow and Thursday. The tomorrow, not so much, but for Thursday. And for folks in the South, in North Georgia, just Atlanta's only had, so far this month, 23 days into the month, they've only had 2/100ths of an inch of rain,
Wow.
Joe.
That's for the
2/100ths.
month of now. That's this month, September.
That's the month of September. And just to
They're
give you an
doing a
idea, I'm sorry,
they're doing
what?
in October. They're doing in October 2024, but we did here
Yeah.
when Central Park only had 1/100th.
Right. Well, they got only 2/1, and we actually had that same thing happen here last year, where we had a really long dry spell in between dips of water in the well. But just to give you an idea in terms of the temperature profile in Georgia today, Atlanta, which is about 100 miles to the southwest of me, got to 89. My high here was only 78. So I was a good 11 degrees cooler here in North Georgia. Had just as much sun as maybe a little less sun than they did, but 100 miles further north at 2,200 feet of elevation helps. Atlanta's up at about 900 feet, so I got an extra 1,300 feet on those folks. Here's the wide radar view, and you can get a load of the area that in the Midwest, in the middle of the country, where we're seeing these showers and storms and these couple of flash flood warnings. Again, the main concentration of really solid thunderstorm activity that's producing severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings is mostly in northwest Arkansas. We also have a few storms north of Dallas-Fort Worth near the Oklahoma state line where we're seeing some severe weather there. And then we've got this rain area back in southwest Nebraska and into the northeastern quarter of Colorado, including Denver. And that's rotating around the backside of the upper trough that is gradually going to be moving to the east. Storm Prediction Center tonight. Marginal risk for severe weather for western New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, down into Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, and that's playing out at the moment with some isolated cells in the mix. And then, of course, we have this enhanced risk inside that tornado watch box that's currently up in northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas. This is as of 7:53 p.m. Eastern Time, and the slight risk extending down into that severe thunderstorm watch that goes down into the northern counties of northeast Texas. Now, tomorrow we have a marginal risk, so sort of a giant finger coming up from South Texas and then running up through Louisiana, through Mississippi and Alabama, just about all of Tennessee, northwest Georgia, actually most of North Georgia, Kentucky, West Virginia, Western Virginia, Southern Ohio, and Southern Indiana. And then as we move on to day 3, which I'm trying to get the map to move. If we move on to day 3, this actually caught me a little bit by surprise this morning, but they went a marginal risk for western Connecticut and western Massachusetts, the Hudson Valley all the way up to just north of Albany, Long Island except the East End, New Jersey, New York City, eastern half of Pennsylvania, much of Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, southern Alabama, down into southeast Louisiana. I'm wondering, Mr. Rayo, if they felt confident enough to throw a marginal risk in at this stage, being that it is the day 3 forecast, Thursday through Friday. I'm wondering whether we may eventually see a slight risk in there somewhere.
I'm surprised that they're doing that to begin with. I guess they feel that this, and we're going to be in a warm wedge. I mean, the cold front will be on Friday, actually late Thursday. The cold front is going to be approaching from central Pennsylvania. The warm front, assuming that it makes it all the way through, could be as far north as central sections of New England. So apparently, the approaching cold front will be the catalyst and could very well indeed produce enough convection to possibly consider, severe weather. I'm not totally sold on it, but I guess it may very well be true. And also the front is moving at a pretty good clip. It looks like it's going to be moving in and through the immediate tri-state area probably early on Friday. And if it keeps on moving, we could have lingering showers give way to improving weather in time for the upcoming first weekend of fall. We'll see.
Yep. Rainfall wise, an inch and a half plus between tonight and Thursday. Probably more of it winds up coming on Thursday than anything else. But we have it covering eastern PA, the northern half of New Jersey, to New York City and western Long Island, the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and even into southern Vermont and New Hampshire. Large area of an inch and a half plus there. Also, inch and a half plus amounts and some 2.5 inch plus amounts being indicated in southwestern North Carolina and over me. I hope so, because the ground here is like cement. But we've got inch and a half plus across much of North and South Carolina, anywhere from a half inch to an inch plus everywhere else in the southeast and the Gulf states. South Florida with an inch and a half plus. The northern plains looking dry, going back almost to the northern Rockies, so not a whole lot of precip there. Starting to get some action in the Pacific Northwest with a half to 3/4 and a bit more of that in northwestern Washington. And we've got some tropical moisture that's zooming northward up into southeast Arizona and New Mexico again, where we're seeing areas of 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half, which down there in those desert areas, Mr. Rayo, you know darn well that that's sort of the equivalent of places in the east when they get 5 or 6 inches of rain all at once. It doesn't take nearly as much rain to cause flash flooding because everything basically runs off in the
That's
Southwest.
absolutely true. Well, you just said that the ground where you are is like concrete, and you get a heavy enough rain, and all that stuff is just going to indeed just simply run off, and that could very well be the case.
All right, let's look at the tropics because we've got now Gabrielle is off the screen here, I think. Let me raise it up. No, there it is, right at the top of the screen. You can see Bermuda to the west, and you can see the Azores to the northeast. Gabrielle still has a fairly well-defined eye as it moves northeast, actually moving east-northeastward, and on its forecast track will take it over the Azores. And then we have two tropical waves. We have the one that's further out is the one that's probably a bit better organized than the one ahead of it. The one that's over the Leeward Islands looks disorganized at the moment. I don't see, not really seeing any kind of curvature yet, and nor are we seeing a concentration of convection. There's more curvature and some convection bursting with the second wave. Still not getting any. I'm not seeing a low level circulation. There might be something at mid levels, but you're also beginning to see the outflow. So that one looks like it wants to develop first. The one ahead of it is going to eventually find its way near the Bahamas by the time we get to the weekend. There is an upper low that's east of the Bahamas. You see the counterclockwise rotation there. That's been kind of moving slowly westward. So it's going to need to get out of the way in order to create more of a favorable environment for the lead wave to develop. But most of the models are now saying that both of these are going to develop into tropical storms and maybe even hurricanes down the road. Here's the 5 o'clock. Actually, there'll be an 8 o'clock advisory now, or should be. Yes, at 8 o'clock, because we're on 3 hourly advisories because there's a hurricane watch up for the Azores. 34.8 north, 55.2 west. Still a Category 3, top winds 125 miles an hour, and it's moving right along east-northeast at 21. And with respect to those waves, let's see what they're doing here. They had 90% for. Now they've got the lead wave colored in red. So for the one further out, saying environmental conditions are forecast to be favorable for further development, and a depression is likely to form over the next couple of days as the system moves west-northwest to northwest into the western tropical Atlantic, well north of the Leeward Islands. 70% probability in the next 48 hours, 90% in the next 5 days. And then the one that's further west, a tropical wave over the extreme northeastern Caribbean, producing a large area of disorganized showers and storms, moving west-northwest at 15 to 20, will spread heavy rain and gusty winds into Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands tonight and Wednesday, and then the Dominican Republic late Wednesday. The system is then expected to slow down and turn northwest when it reaches the southwest Atlantic in a couple of days. Environmental conditions are forecast to become more conducive. Again, that upper low's got to get out of the way. More conducive for development late this week, and a depression is likely to form when the disturbance is in the vicinity of the Bahamas. And they go on to talk about the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, blah, blah, monitor the progress. 30% in the next 48 hours, and 70% now probability that this will develop. Now, at the top of the show, I mentioned the real confusion that this is going to cause, and I'll start with the GFS, the 18Z GFS, and you pick out the waves just looking at how the isobars. There's a closed isobar with the second wave, the one further east, northeast of the leewards, and the isobars are kind of kinked with the lead wave. It almost looks like it's one system, but it really isn't. But eventually, we do get a closed low that forms in the southeast Bahamas on Saturday, and then they kind of do this dance around each other.
The Fujiwara effect.
Well, right, the Fujiwara effect. So there's some. I would say that whatever you're seeing on models, even though we're not looking out 10 or 12 days, we're now looking out 5 and 6 days. So when you get a situation like this, there's a high degree of uncertainty in how this is all played out. Now, the GFS this afternoon says, yeah, you get both systems developed. The one to the east becomes the dominant one and eventually absorbs it and has that one going up east of North Carolina before it turns out to sea. Now, we can take a look at the European, and the European has both systems developing, believe it or not, they develops both systems into major hurricanes, and in fact, basically, it's got.
I've never. I'm trying to. I'm racking my brain. I've never seen two tropical cyclones of this magnitude so close to each other.
I think if you go
Um,
back, if you go back to one of those years where we had like 20 of them, I forgot which one it was, where we had a number of systems where you had two major hurricanes very close to each other, relatively close to each other. They seem to be, it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while it does. But again, we're in a situation here where you've got these two cyclones, and the model says they're both going to be there. There's some uncertainty about that. And they kind of move, sort of in tandem. One pulls out to the northeast and then pulls the other one out right behind it. But then it did something really weird. It looks like the second one goes out, and then it just starts buckling back northwestward and then rides northward right up along 70 West, almost to Cape Cod before it turns out to the east. So,
right.
look, my takeaway is this. If this is real, and we are going to be looking at two tropical cyclones, and given what's going on in the upper air, you know that the next bunch of runs that are coming are going to be doing different things and maybe some weird things. So trying to come up with a logical forecast in a situation like this is impossible.
It's going to be, and again, every run will be dependent upon where an upper low forms, where the system in the upper atmosphere develops relative to the surface. And if you go let's much beyond 3 or 4 days, you're going to just be racking your brains trying to anticipate or trying to figure out what the final outcome is going to be.
Oh
And
yeah,
hopefully, I mean, it's Tuesday. Thursday presumably will be our last show of the week, and by Thursday it'll be even more confusing. No, I'm
well,
hoping
it
it'll
might be.
be.
Well, Joe, it might be because you mentioned, cutoff lows. There's a cutoff low that's going to form uh, late this week in the Gulf states. And that's going to be a big player here and how these two systems react to that cutoff low. I mean, we saw the models yesterday or the day before yesterday where the cutoff low basically captures the one that's closer to the coast and just sort of catapults it up into North Carolina. And that, that's not out of the question here. You also have how much ridging out in the Atlantic, because we saw with Erin that the models really underdid the ridging, and there is a strong ridge that at least for a while anyway, is building to the north of Bermuda and back up over into the Great Lakes. So that's another complication here with regards to how all of this is going to behave.
It's what can I say? It's going to be
It's
interesting the
nuts.
next few days as to what's going to happen. We'll
Now
see.
I'm going to show the icon, which only goes out to 120. Uh, but the icon has you know, either a strong tropical storm or a minimal hurricane over the Bahamas, over the eastern Bahamas, around 75 degrees west, and then it has a category 1, maybe borderline 2. So it's got a hurricane at 75 west, at 600 miles to the east, it's got another hurricane. And on the old icon, so if we go on the 12Z run, which it didn't really, it almost, if you look at that lower right, it looks like two eyes are staring right at you. It's really weird. But on this one, they do that Fujiwara thing, and actually, in terms of the pressures that they have on these storms, they're actually both category fours, or strong threes. And again, how is this all going to be playing out with respect to what the upper air is showing, and what's going to be happening in the southeast U.S.? That's going to be a big, big question. Just for laughs, I'm going to bring up the ensembles or the ensembles. She's been kind of quiet through the whole summer season. So now that we're getting into fall and eventually into winter, she will be making regular appearances here. But here, look at the plots. I mean, they are. There's a couple that are closer to the coast. Most of them are offshore. But it's hard to figure out. Is it one storm? Is it two? I mean, look, they're just all over the place. So that's not helpful. And let's see if the European and on shot what the European ensembles. The Europeans got two distinct lows here. It's got the one further east. It's got one over the Bahamas, And a number of members of the European take that, the one that's further west, and take it up into North Carolina. And actually, it even brings the second one that's further out closer to 70 degrees west or even inside 70 degrees west. So, again, this is all, it's just monumental confusion in terms of how this plays out. But well, you know what we do know? We do know that we've got a cold front that's coming through tonight that's going to stall and come back as a warm front. We know that, and we know that we're going to get more rain here come Wednesday night and Thursday. I thought maybe we'd probably get some stuff. There might be some scattered stuff around tomorrow, especially to the north. And then tomorrow night with the warm front, that goes by, and then here comes the cold front with showers and storms Thursday afternoon that run all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And again, I hope I get the 2 inches of rain that WPC is promising me for Wednesday night and Thursday. And then the front goes out. We dry out for Saturday, but then you see you start to play the games with whatever's off the southeast coast. I would say certainly that the weekend should be okay, regardless of what goes on down off the south, in the Southwest Atlantic.
Well, we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see how this all pans out. If for nothing else, if not late in the weekend, early next week, we may have some interesting events taking place out over the ocean just to our east. And again, it's kind of weird to see not one but two major or significant tropical systems right near to each other, and again, adjacent to the eastern United States. We'll see how this all pans out, Joe.
All right. And of course, if it does start to look really weird going into the weekend for the Southeast, we might add a show. It is possible. We might add a show. But we'll let you know. Probably not until Thursday, but we'll let you know. You have Briller Jeopardy tonight.
Yes, I do. And let me just get it up here so that I can read it to all of you. And here we are. So we have on Briller Jeopardy tonight yearly snowfall, annual snowfall. Again, we're talking about Alaskan cities. So, it's enough that you're trying to do the 48 contiguous United States, but here we're talking about our vast 49th state, Alaska. Average yearly snowfall in these Alaskan cities, and we will start with Nome, which is north of Anchorage, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at a complete disadvantage. I have no idea. So I'll just venture a guess and say 95.
All things considered, what you just said, all things considered, not a bad guess, but it's a little bit too much.
Really too much. John M. says 80.
John M. is in snake country with that.
Really?
Really?
All right, so that's either 81 or 79. So I'll say 81.
Joe, for that, you get a bell.
Thank you.
There you are. Now, I'm not sure where this is. I've heard of it, but I'm not sure. In fact, in parentheses, Scott says cruise port. So I guess, you would cruise along the coastline and you would eventually come to Skagway.
Skagway, okay. Well, we know that Juneau was up in the 80s. So I'll say 85.
Well, I would have bowed to that you're using Juneau as help to try to determine Skagway, but unfortunately, it's quite a bit too much.
Really? So that it must be like, right down on the coast somewhere, which I have no idea where.
I see Michael McGuire has 101. That's way too high.
Well, Frank R has 62. How's that?
That's still too high.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
CWTR Shark has 37.
That's a little bit too low.
Okay,
Not a
so
bad guess for 37, but too low.
Mike Waterhouse Bonsai's dropped it to 52, and Bobby Livingsworth at 49.
Bobby Livingsworth is closer with the 49, and he's a little bit on the high side, but that's the closest we've had so far for
All right.
Skagway.
Conroy Jet has 48. Then Mr. Bonsai has come back with a 44.
Well, Mr. Bonsai at 44 put you in snake country. If it was a snake, it would have bit you.
All right, so it's either 43 or 45. So I'll say whoever comes up with the first one. Somebody say 43. Okay, McGuire's at 43 and Frank R's at 45. Which one?
45 for Frank R. Congratulations. That's the correct answer. And now here's a town that I've been to. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I actually have been to Anchorage, Alaska. And the year that I went to Anchorage, Alaska, which was in 2016, the Iditarod, which normally runs through Anchorage, couldn't run through Anchorage because they didn't have enough snow that year.
Wow. I would think it's probably got to be close to 100.
Well, you would think that, but it's a little bit too high.
It's too little too high. Okay. Conroy Jet says 77.
77 is right there. I mean, it's
Miss
you know,
Fowlerite's at 75. Owen D 23 at 79. Carol DeCara at 78.
Carol, congratulations. That's it for Anchorage, 78. Now, for number 4, the Pacific side of the Inside Passage, another cruise port, Sitka.
On the Pacific side. Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea. I'll say 65.
Too high.
Okay, well, I was at least I was going down, which was the right thing to do. Bobby Livingsworth at 44.
That's very close. A little
Uh,
on the high side, but that's close.
okay, so Chuck Cardillo's at 41.
That is snake country for Chuck Cardillo.
Okay, so it's either 42 for Christopher Bear and Mike Waterhouse Bonsai or Lou Arizio at 40.
And Bobby Livingsworth also had 40, but Bobby and Lou, you got it, 40 inches.
Okay.
And let's see, what do we have? Number 5, another cruise port, Ketchikan. Can you catch a can?
Catch a can. I don't know. 55.
Too high.
Too high. Okay. Um,
I'm going to give it away right now. All right? If you're a
okay.
baseball fan, you automatically will get it. Casey Stengel would love you for this. And John M. got it. 37.
37. Okay, there you
37.
go.
That was Casey. That was Casey's number, both with the Yankees and with the Mets. And here comes the bonus. Multiple choice, Joe. Multiple choice. What was the coldest temperature ever recorded in Barrow? You can go with A, minus 39, B, minus 49, C, minus 56, or D, minus 66.
I'm going to go with C.
Minus 56.
Right.
Anybody else want to go with minus 56?
Well, Owen D 23 said minus 56.
Michael McGuire said C, minus 56.
Right.
And
Bo-
quite a few people. Bobby
a
Livingsworth
few,
went
a
there.
few, a few others are going D. Maggie P and Christopher Bear and Carol DeCara with the D.
Well, I'll tell you, coldest temperature, and I'm surprised because Barrow is what, like 72 degrees north latitude? And
Yeah.
I know a few places. I know a few places in New York that have been close to this temperature, and nowhere near as far north as Barrow. But anyway, the answer is minus 56.
So it is C.
Yes. C. February 3rd, 1924, temperature at Barrow, Alaska, minus 56 Fahrenheit.
All right. Yeah, that was very challenging because we don't really pay as much attention to Alaska as we probably should. But um, I mean, we do have Alaska people on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast on the chat board. Alfred Phillips. I don't know if he was there earlier today. I know he was here yesterday. But anyhow, all right. I think that's good enough for tonight. And of course, we have our closing show sponsors, Joe Rayo. And tonight it's uh, clean your cage with cheap laundry detergent. The detergent that's for the birds. It removes tar and feathers. That's cheap. Okay. And I think you're going to love this one. LeChew Sickening Chow Mein. Pre Pre-chewed. I knew you would love this one. Pre-chewed food for your digesting
Digestive
pleasure.
pleasure.
I can't read the bottom. It says net
It says
weight 20
20
mouthfuls.
mouth something. It looks like mouth something or whatever.
I think it's mouthfuls. Yes. So
Yeah.
enjoy your Chinese food by eating lechu.
What is in that stuff? Looks like
Oh,
he's eating.
on the picture,
I mean, it looks like he's eating worms and centipedes.
either that or pieces of your intestine.
Yeah.
There's teeth in
I,
there. There's teeth. That's probably your
do,
intestines.
do me a favor and get that off the screen, please. Uh,
Yeah, it is a bit overwhelming.
yes.
So there you go. Okay, that's it for tonight. I like doing these things. It gives us a little bit of a laugh, and I think we need to laugh more these days. So that's a good thing. So on that note, we will see everybody back tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's it. I have absolutely nothing left to say except good night.
I'll say good night then, too.
Nighty night.